Hello, and welcome back to Vintage Talk, one word. I'm your host, Evan, joined, as always, by my other host, Archer.
Hello.
And we're going to be talking about some more antiques today, and as I just checked to make sure, you started last time, so I'm going to start this time with a simple phase up, Archer. I got you covered.
Oh, do you?
I do.
And why is that, dear sir?
Because, as the audience cannot tell, I'm holding the most metal cap gun of all time. I mean that literally. It's actually metal.
It is a metal cap gun.
It's a metal cap gun. I have a history with cap guns.
Oh.
Not in a bad way.
Oh.
That's just why I like
in a boring
this.
way.
Well, not to me.
Do tell.
But thanks. So, when I was little, when me and my brothers were little, and we went to visit my grandparents, my granddad would take us to the dollar store or the Dollar General or whatever every time we visited, and we would always get a new cap gun of some kind to do Cowboys and John Wayne games with. And so, I just have a fondness for the aesthetic of the cap gun and the young child, you know, with the cowboy hat. Yeah, running around. And so I found this. This is probably one of the first things that I got. I don't think it was as early as the sword.
No.
That I talked about.
Because I don't even remember the sword until you brought it over.
Yeah.
But this, I do remember.
Okay. So this we discovered probably second floor.
Yeah.
By a window. Actually, I remember it now. Second floor by a window of the antique mall that we usually go to.
Oh, yeah.
And I liked this one because it wasn't completely broken. So it doesn't like pull multiple times anymore, but you can hear the trigger pulling, and like sometimes it'll do that. It'll kind of break apart a little, but it will go right back together. So you can pull the trigger and hear a click. You just can't pull it twice because you have to set the spring back up. So it's not a perfectly conditioned gun, but it's probably the coolest looking one we could have possibly hoped for.
Yeah,
because
and
it looks
even the
totally
noises that it makes are really phenomenal because it is metal cast.
Yeah, it looks totally legit, and it looks very James Bondish, I think, because it's kind of small, but it's got like the, you know.
It also doesn't help that it has an orange tip. So.
But it doesn't have an orange tip.
No, that's what I'm saying. That's the issue.
Oh. Yeah,
because we probably couldn't brandish this on a street.
Yeah, that's probably true.
So, but aside from that, it is really a wonderful piece.
It is, and like even though it's rusted, and the whatever painted, like I can't tell. So this side's kind of gold. So I don't know if this was the paint or if this is just changed color compared to the other side.
So I think that originally it was kind of that silvery color.
Okay.
But it just seems like
it just aged weirdly on that side.
Yeah, there's just a patina over all of it now, and I'm guessing that somebody treated this partially, or at least coated it with something early on.
Okay.
Like accidentally, maybe.
Yeah.
But yeah, so for the most part, it is kind of this really dark brown gray.
Yeah.
That comes from its aged patina, but there are these couple of patches of really bright, clean silver,
which you can imagine, like in its prime. It was even freaking better. Like,
and what's great about it too is that it isn't. It's pretty complex in terms of design.
I know. Well, yeah, that's where I was going with it. Is like it looks just phenomenal compared to most toys of its kind.
Because like on the barrel, it's got a really wonderful floral pattern, and then what is this part?
Just the grip, I guess.
The grip, yeah. It has a really wonderful diamond texture on it,
like an actual gun would have.
Yeah. In terms of detailing, I mean, a lot of the detail is static, doesn't move.
Right.
But has
still, somebody
the
took their time on it. So, yeah. As you were saying to me right before the episode started, we haven't found a use for it in an EvCo video yet. But we probably will at some point.
It deserves to be used.
It does. Just for... Like I said, it's look at its aesthetic alone. Like it's a good looking gun.
Yeah.
So,
I'll take over now.
Do.
So before us on the table.
Oh wow, this is longer than I. My laptop is covering this area, so I only looked at that side.
So, what I have in front of me is a giant carved Chinese door.
This is a door?
Yeah. So this is only half of the assembly.
Okay.
Or possibly shutter or some other screening.
Okay,
It would have,
okay.
in some way, it would have been built into the architecture of a building.
Right.
As you can tell, because it is in front of us, it is no longer a part of a building,
No.
and I only have the one of them. So it's all made out of wood, really intricate lattice carving on a lot of it. There's even a few sculptural reliefs in it. So in the very center of it, there's a lot of lattice work surrounding it, but in the very center you have three figures. No clue who they are. No idea why they're important. No idea why they're carved. But you can see very faintly that they used to be gold-leafed. And in fact, a lot of the lattice work seems to have been gold-leafed at some point, but a lot of it's worn off.
Yeah.
But it still does have a little bit of that shimmer. The three central characters, they're wearing these really wonderful robes. They have fans in their hands. And then something's going on with the hairdo. I can't really describe it. And then on the very bottom, in its own little segment, you have another picture where it's this a little bit more of a rotund figure at the bottom.
Yeah, he is.
He looks like he's clutching something, and right next to him is this giant bull that I believe is eating grass. So no idea what that's
That's a
about.
majestic looking bull.
It
though.
really is. He is something special.
Yeah.
I mean,
It's a little disturbing that his head is completely turned sideways
because
like that.
I think he's just trying to uproot the grass. you
Yeah,
know?
yeah, probably.
I can see it. But so, in its current state, while it does look marvelous, I think it is a little bit rough. A lot of the paint is chipping. It's a little bit sun-baked in terms of color, so the colors are a little bit muted. And like some of the actual paneling on here is a little bit loose. Like it isn't correctly in its socket. I've tried to repair it, but the wood is too warped now to actually fit everything back together again. In the lattice itself, there's various voids and pieces missing.
Oh, yeah.
But and there's pieces about to fall out too. But overall, still a lovely effect.
It is.
I don't think it was terribly expensive for how large it is.
Really?
It's
That's surprising.
It's about 4 feet tall, or well, 3 maybe,
Yeah.
3.5, something like
Probably, I would say 3 and
Yeah.
a little bit of change.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I want to say it was maybe about 40, 50.
Really? Only 40 or 50?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which for the booth that it came from, that's a pretty good price.
Yeah.
And-
Around where in the store did it come from?
it was where we originally would always look at the postcards, and they had like that, that
really?
bell
Okay.
in there.
Yeah. Okay.
So it was in that booth, and usually the things in there are a little bit pricey. And for a lot of our antique finds, the range of $50 is still pretty pricey.
Yeah.
But for what it is, I think that's worth it.
Yeah.
Since then, it's kind of been a fixture of whatever room I want to decorate. So I'll just lean it against the wall, lean it against a chair, lean it against something. And I really like it because it has all these really warm, natural colors to it. And the actual lattice work and the detailing is phenomenal. So
Yeah.
I'm quite happy with it.
Yeah, it's a good looking one. And that's even from like, most of the time when I just see this wooden stuff, like nothing really catches my
Yeah.
eye, but I could see totally the appeal of this one.
Oh, yeah.
Was it, so this was probably outside because it was sun-baked, you said?
Well,
or
I'm
what part of
thinking-
a building, like, I know you said like maybe
Yeah,
it's a shutter or
yeah.
something, but like, do you know like from any of your art history studies, like where in the world this might have been, like
Well, so
on what kind of a building or where in the building or on the building?
The sculpture work, I mean, I'm definitely not an expert in terms of sculpture or woodwork. But definitely...
What do you mean? You've built a desk.
different type, man. Different type. So I would want to say that it is either Chinese or Japanese, and if you say it's Japanese, that more or less means it's Chinese, because there's a lot of cultural crossings there, I guess.
Okay.
So a lot of, although granted, Japan does have its own phenomenal woodworking culture, but at least for a decorative piece like this that doesn't have any structural property to it, it could very well be either. And I'd have to know more about the apparel that the guys are wearing, or any of the other symbology.
Yeah.
Or symbology, yeah.
I just thought
to
maybe because
figure
you
it
said
out.
it looked like it was gold lace or something. Would that mean like it was for a Richie kind of?
Possibly,
or-
possibly. It's just one of those things where it's really hard to pin down.
Yeah, I mean, there's no way of knowing.
But from what I believe, at least, I am still leaning more towards Chinese architectural element.
Okay.
Just because, at least for decorative purposes like this, it seems like Chinese architecture incorporates more wood and lattice work, whereas Japanese, it'd be more things like paper screens or a lot of mural work, that sort of thing.
Gotcha.
So I still do want to lead in a more Chinese direction, but I can't say for certain.
Okay.
But to answer the question, it probably would have been outside, either on a front-facing courtyard wall or in the courtyard itself.
Okay.
So
cool.
That's what I know on very limited knowledge, and could very well be wrong.
You know what? It's good enough for me, and hopefully for everybody else out there as well, who I know will be insanely curious.
Oh, I hope so.
Unfortunately, it is time to close this
Unfortunately.
door. Not actually this door.
Yeah, because it'd
before us,
break.
But probably would. But we're going to close the metaphorical door on this episode and say goodbye, and thank you all for listening, and we will see you next time.
Goodbye.